I'm Whitney.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Deb.
We're three best friends who love nerdy things.
Well, some people think we're nerdy, but we think we're pretty awesome.
This is Our Nerdiest Thing.
Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. It is the first episode of Season 4, and we're doing things just a little bit differently. You will notice that today's episode is not a read-along. Our Tuesday episodes, starting in Season 4, are going to be Our Nerdiest Thing, basically an extended version of us hanging out and talking about nerdy stuff. It's pretty much what we do when we get together in general. And
talking about books and movies and what we're listening to and all kinds of fun stuff.
All kinds of nerdy things. And then we are still doing our read-along episodes. They will just be coming out later in the week on Thursdays. So to get started for today's Our Nerdiest Thing episode, Deb, will you please introduce tonight's cocktail?
Of course. It's called 7 Gems, 7 Territories, and 7 Asshole Gods. And of course, this cocktail has 7 ingredients and might taste a little bit like a Long Island iced tea. You'll have to listen to this week's Buddy Read book episode, say that 5 times fast, on Thursday to learn more about it. Or you can go to ournerdiestthing.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Our Nerdiest Thing.
Check us out.
Check us out.
All right. Well, first, let's get into some nerd alert. Nerdy news. It makes me want to say, like, nerd alert.
We're trying to get people to continue to listen. Nerd alert.
So it makes me
and our listenership just dropped.
I do have a few. I'm going to go in chronological order for mine. I hope that is okay.
Of course.
Maybe that's my nerdiest thing of the week, that I need to do it in like calendar date order.
You did a lot more nerdy shit than this week.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So first for me, Jennifer Armentrout's new book, she's calling it a compendium, a From Blood and Ash World and Flesh and Fire World Compendium. And I'm like, that's a big word, Jen.
Mean?
I honestly don't know. I guess companion.
Vocab nerd.
Companion book? I didn't look it up.
Sure, put me on the
compendium.
But
all I have to say is, yes, Miss Wilhelmina. I'm really hoping there's some of her diary.
It's supposed to be. Yeah,
Isn't that how it's supposed to be laid out? Like,
yes.
Formatted, I guess.
But her diary that Poppy has is just sex. This one's not just sex, right?
I don't think so. I did see somebody in the JLA Facebook group that made a post that was basically like, I saw that there's a co-author and I don't want to read it if it's not from JLA. What? So like, what's up with that? And I was like, first of all, that's kind of rude. And second of all, it does have JLA's name. Just because she has a co-author doesn't mean that she's not writing it.
Right.
But it was
JLA
really weird.
Actually went online and she was like,
I saw that,
most compendiums do have a co-author because this has maps and world building and family trees and all that. And like, calm your tits is essentially what she was saying.
Her assistant, Melissa, she said basically like this co-author is actually an editor for the books and has like a book Bible on all the details and all the facts. So she basically was like, this isn't just some random person.
Yeah, they're totally in the know.
Yeah. Right. This is an editor who is on the team who knows this world like
also,
inside and out.
If JLA is your favorite author, don't be an asshole.
I know, right? I felt kind of bad because people were like, who cares? Read it anyway. But also, it was kind of rude.
I don't feel bad
post.
for calling her an asshole. Don't go on your author's page and say negative things about them.
It is really bad form to do that.
Yeah, it was. It
don't
wasn't
tag
great.
authors in negative things.
Yeah, it wasn't a great look. So that's February 20th. And then next, Whitney Dean, friend of the podcast, her new book, Rise of the Cinder Fae, released on February 26th. And I got to read an arc of that, and it was really good. She's doing retellings, a series of retellings, and this is the first one. And it's a Cinderella retelling, but it's really like not Cinderella. She's got some really creative, fun little twists on the classic Cinderella fairy tale. It was really good. Really good spice, good twists and turns. I was really excited about it. So that is February 26th. Check that out from Whitney Dean. And then for me, last but not least, Scarlett St. Clair today is finally releasing A Touch of Chaos, which is the final book in her Persephone and Hades series. And it actually
you're super excited about that.
I mean, it got pushed back. It was supposed to have already been out, and she
November.
had stuff going on and wanted to make sure that it was up to her standards, right? As the
Which
author
I
of the book.
totally appreciate.
I know, me
I
too.
don't mind
I
waiting
can't
a few
wait.
extra months.
I will tell you, I'm also super pumped about this book. The last one ended on a cliffhanger, and it was a huge cliffhanger.
yeah.
And so I've been waiting for this forever, but I'm even more excited. She's announced that she's going to do a book about Hermes, which is one of my favorite characters. They're just so sassy. I love it. And also, I know she's working on the third installment of King of Battle and Blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really need some Isolde and Adrian in my horny little life. They have such good chemistry. I love it. And her storytelling in that series is really amazing, too.
It is good. Yeah.
I can't wait for
that.
I have a little bit of news to share. One of my favorite authors, Helena Hunting, has a brand new hockey series out. And it's not out yet. It's a separate world from her Pucked and her Lies, Hearts, and Truth series, which is all the same characters in those series. This is totally new, totally different. It was kind of teased in one of the bonus episodes or bonus chapters for Shattered Truths, which is the last one in that other series. So it's called If You Hate Me, and it's releasing. It was released on March 7th. So I have some more to talk about it because I actually got an arc of it, so I'm really excited to share with you all. But that'll come later.
I've got a couple too. I was able to read the arc of Lore of the Wild. It just came out on February 27th. It's by Analeigh Sbrana. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's really great. It's got wonderful world building, and it's a book about Fae and an enchanted library, which is super duper fun.
I like that.
And then just last week on March 6th, Holly Black's The Prisoner's Throne was released, and I can't wait to devour this one and see where the world takes us. This book is the sequel to The Stolen Heir, which follows Oak, the younger brother of Carden, in the Cruel Prince / Folk of the Air series, and also the Ice Queen daughter's Ren, who was like that really feral character. If you haven't read The Stolen Heir yet, go grab it, because now you don't have to sit on the cliffhanger it ends on, because book 2 is out.
That's always the good thing about starting a series after the second book's out.
Right. Yeah. But I really don't like it when people are like, completed series only. I kind of like the anticipation of something.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Right. Yeah. Plus,
I'm learning to like it.
Those authors need you to buy their books at that time so they can write another book.
So they can finish the series.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Because if they don't have good sales, their book isn't going to be contracted out by the publisher. So just keep that in mind. I also went and saw Madame Web, or is it Madame? How do you say Madame?
I think technically it's Madame, but I've only heard people say
Web.
Yeah, I've only heard people say Madame Web. So
I'm going to call it Madame Web, and it's just a really great woman-led superhero movie, and you can tell they want to turn it into a franchise. It's in the Marvel universe, and it has the chick from 50 Shades in it. That's what I know her from.
Dakota Johnson.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like negate her good acting or anything. She is actually really great. And then it's got the girl Sydney Sweeney in it, and then a couple of other, like a lot of like famous people, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that person was in this. I didn't know this person was in it. It was really good. My fear is that it is a full woman cast and dudes aren't going to watch it.
Yep.
That's my fear.
It's we talked before we started recording. I've seen a ton of really negative reviews.
Right.
And I will say though, the reviews have not been focused on the actors. It's been focused on like the writing and the dialogue and like what they had to work with.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen it.
I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'd go and watch it again. And when it streams, I'll watch it a million times then too. So highly recommend.
I want to see it.
Sounds like a veiled way to smartly put that they didn't like it because it had too many women in it. The writing was terrible. There were too many women characters.
I gave it 4 stars.
Well, I need to watch it.
I'll go with you.
You make me excited.
My youngest saw it and enjoyed it.
Well, now we're going into a new segment for these episodes called The Nerdy and Dirty, where we're going to share stuff that we're loving right now. Maybe they'll be book related and maybe they won't. You'll just have to wait.
Whitney's going to talk about her last gynecological exam.
No, I was thinking more like TV shows.
Oh, darn.
Or music. But I mean, we could talk about medical things if we really wanted to. That would be nerdy.
Can I ask first what you're reading?
Yeah, right now I'm only reading Crescent City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a really kind of a big bummer. I've been in a really big reading. No.
Season 4, all Crescent City.
No, I mean, like, the fact that I'm only reading right now for the podcast, I really love Crescent City, but I've been in a big reading slump, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. But I have a bunch of other stuff to read that I want to read, and I just haven't. So.
No one made you reread this book.
No, I wanted to reread it, but I'm just saying, like, I wish I were reading more than I am. I haven't been reading for the past few weeks. So it's been a bummer.
I'm not reading the first two books, but I am reading the third book right now. That's only been out for about a month, House of Flame and Shadow. And I can hardly put it down. It is so fast paced. So much happens in it. I say that, but I actually did put it down because when it
liar.
So if you guys listen to the podcast, you know, about 5 days before it was released, we got our hands on a copy, and Whitney read it in less than 24 hours and then gave it to me, and I felt like I had to start it. Well, I was actually in the middle of reading The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole, and that book is amazing, and so I actually really wanted to finish that. So whenever I decided I was really missing that book, I went back and finished it, and it's also like 700 pages. So I had to finish that, and I came back to Crescent City last week, but like really, really loving it. I'm getting irritated when my eyes droop at night when I'm still trying to read. So it's great.
Yeah, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, I teased about Helena Hunting's new series. So I did just finish the arc today of If You Hate Me. And guys, it is so good. She had been teasing for months that this is the spiciest book she's ever written.
Ooh.
And so if you've read some of her other stuff, it's already pretty spicy. And this one definitely tops them all. It's insane how filthy this main male character is.
Oh,
and
my.
he is so hot. Like, I can't get enough.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Is he filthy, like, with the stuff he says?
Or like a bum.
Well, he...
Or like he needs to take a shower?
Well, you know me, I do love those like derelict people that like don't shower. And no, he's like a dirty talker in bed and like super dirty talker. And
I will say
actually
I do like
sent Deborah my review of it, and she had to laugh because one of the trigger warnings is phallic vegetable play.
I don't know if I'd call that a warning. I call it I'm interested in that.
Well,
what that is.
Some people might not care for vegetable play. I don't know.
You know what?
I just wanted to
It depends.
people be
Is it a
fair.
pineapple or a cucumber? Because those are two different
It is
things.
a cucumber.
I love the fact that you put that though, because I mean, it wouldn't stop me from reading the book, but I would be one that'd be like, oh, I don't think I want that. You know,
Yeah.
That reminds me, my parents came over today, and my dad like won't eat food in my house because I guess it's not healthy enough, and he brought like a bunch of his own food, and one of them was this ginormous piece of a cucumber like in a baggie, and I was like, that looks like a dick.
Did you say that to your dad?
No, I didn't say that it looks like a dick. I said that looks like a body part. And he was like, oh, you have such a dirty mind. But
Like,
that's
you
funny.
gotta stop hanging out with Deborah.
now you're talking about cucumber vegetable play.
Yeah, you know, it all comes back to vegetable
Is that
play.
the only
man.
vegetable that's in it?
Are
there fruits?
The only vegetable,
Like a tomato.
I mean, it's the only vegetable that gets used in a sexual manner.
But they're like eating broccoli and stuff.
The others are for nourishment.
No,
Sorry.
he sends her a gift basket later, and it's got all kinds of like phallic foods in it.
Oh, that's
Oh, nice.
hilarious.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally
my
cut
God.
you off.
Both of your birthdays just passed, but I'm doing that next year. I'm sending you a bouquet of phallic shaped
Edible
fruits.
arrangement.
Yeah. Only dick shapes, please.
That's funny.
But I am reading something else since I just finished that. I went ahead and started Red, White, and Royal Blue by
Oh,
Casey
God,
McQuiston. I know
I
I've been
love that
dying
book.
to read it. It's been in my Kindle forever. I actually bought it like forever ago, and I was like, I'm going to read that. So,
I know. I've got
excited.
the new Tessa Bailey book just sitting, the one about golf. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's
Fangirl
called.
Down.
Fangirl Down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got that because Robbie's a big
Yeah.
I
golfer,
have a
so.
really embarrassing story about that. I hopefully by the time this is aired, I've done a corrections post because I actually messaged her. So I got an audio arc for that book, and the golfer's name. So let me just say, Tessa Bailey made golf super sexy. I'm one of those. I will read anything that Tessa Bailey puts out. If someone else had wrote a golf romance, I would have been like, no. But Tessa Bailey read it. So having said that, his last name is Wells, and in the audiobook, it's saying Wells is Bells, like WELL_SBELLES. But it sounds like the narrator saying Wells is Bells. So when I made a graphic, the graphic says Wells is Bells on it. And now I feel like the biggest dumbass in the world. Because Tessa Bailey on her Instagram, like she had shirts made that says Wells is Bells. And I was like, oh, I'm stupid.
No. I mean, if you're only listening to it, that is what it sounds like.
Right.
That sounds like the narrator needs to enunciate a little bit better.
But I told Tessa Bailey when I messaged her, I was like, I didn't get it, but I just thought I didn't understand and I wasn't going to question it. So maybe next time I need to be like, that doesn't make sense. Maybe I should look into that.
Tessa Bailey says he's Bells. I don't know.
Is that a golf term? I don't know.
I might have thought the same thing.
I probably would have assumed that too.
Yeah.
I should know better, but I would have done the exact same thing.
I was like, well,
That's
he's Bells.
funny.
That's got to mean he's great.
He's the shiz.
My son
He's
told
really
me,
bitching.
My son told me this week to stop saying that things have Riz because he's like, you don't get it, Mom. I was like, it's charisma, son.
Oh, that's
Son.
hilarious. It's charisma, yo.
I'm down with the kids.
Yeah. Hello, fellow youths. So let's talk about what we are watching, because we all watched a movie together this weekend that we need to discuss. I'll go ahead and say outright, you guys really liked it, and I did not feel that way.
Are you scared to say the title of the movie because
No.
you're so scarred by it?
No, I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say it anytime I want to. No,
Then say it. You can say it anytime you want.
We watched Saltburn, which, okay, first of all, let me just say.
Whitney's nerdiest thing of the week, even though she'll say it's not.
I literally thought that this movie, I did not know anything about this movie other than it got nominated for some Golden Globes, right? Like, I did not know anything. I thought that this movie was a vampire movie set in like the 1700s. And I don't know why
So
I thought that.
I really do think that you're thinking of The Invitation because it's
must be.
It's at an English manor. But it's set in modern time, but like the manor looks it's very well maintained, but it looks very like historical and it's on this beautiful land.
That must be. I just got them like they were the same movie in my head or
We'll
something.
have to watch that. I mean, that movie it's a little like you're like, okay, this is predictable, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I was really confused for like 10 or 15 minutes when the movie started.
Where are the vampires?
I know. I was like, wait a second. This
Like,
is modern.
how come no one's sucking each other's blood?
Like,
What's
where
happening?
is somebody going to turn into a vampire? And then I was like, oh, I was just very, very wrong about this movie. So, so that was fun.
Yeah, I personally really liked it. How can I put this? The obsession that the secondary character has with Jacob Elordi is really creepy.
It is,
and
yes.
there is some disgusting stuff he does in this movie. So much so there's 6 of us sitting on a couch together at book club going, oh my God.
I just kept turning my chair around.
It takes a lot to make me uncomfortable
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
something.
same.
And really, there was only one scene that made me uncomfortable.
Was it the bathtub or the outside?
It was the gravesite.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Oh, yeah.
it's like they drew a line on the sidewalk and they're like, piss on it. Just piss on it, piss over it, whatever
Just
you
go
need
for
to
it.
do. Yeah.
Well, because we talked about, somebody brought it up while we were watching the movie that graveyard scene is allegedly improved.
Yeah.
At least like the really extreme part
Yes.
is
Yeah.
improvised. So,
Good for him.
Yeah,
I mean, he really committed to that.
he definitely did.
I was thrown off from the very beginning. I think I was doomed to not enjoy it because I thought that it was a vampire movie.
I mean, there are definitely some uncomfortable moments,
Yeah.
but overall, I agree with you, Deb, that just that obsession. There's something intriguing about somebody whose brain works that way, and it's just fascinating. Like and then in the end, you kind of get to go back and sort of re-see where it all kind of went.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of You, that first season.
I thought you were pointing at Whitney.
I was like, me?
The first season of You, when like
Yes, no,
or
I
actually
totally.
it's the second season
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you go back and you realize that. Sorry, spoiler if anybody hasn't seen it, but like that
It's
she
been out for years.
orchestrated
Get over it.
Yeah,
Yes.
she orchestrated
Yes.
everything, and so that sort of like way to go back and see. Oh yeah, that's where that happened. That's
Yeah.
where. Just very very clever.
I do like stuff like that where you can watch it multiple times. And we talked about this that night where you can watch it multiple times and see things that you didn't understand or didn't notice the first time. I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
But
you're not going to watch it again.
But
no.
I will say, as much as I enjoyed the movie and I think it was pretty smart, I don't want to watch it again to figure those things out.
No, I don't either.
It's not a movie that you're going to be like, let's go have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I would watch it
true.
again, like if my husband wanted to watch it or something like that. But I'm not going to like
Go out of your
voluntarily
way.
be like, I think I'll just watch.
I'm
this
not going
again.
to turn it on in the background or anything
Yeah,
like
no
that.
thanks.
Yeah,
But
I know a lot of people still cast Jacob Elordi as Azrael in ACOTAR, but still mine is, who's the guy?
Matthew Daddario.
Yeah, Matthew Daddario, man. He's my Az. Oh, he is my Az all the way.
Jacob Elordi. # not my ass.
are you guys watching anything else?
I did just watch Queen Charlotte with my daughter, which is a spinoff of Bridgerton on Netflix. I bawled at the ending the first time I watched it, and I ugly sobbed the second time I watched it with my daughter. And she's crying, and she's like, why are we so upset? Because it's a happy ending, kind of. As happy as it can be, happy for now. But you're just like, and I couldn't even like talk to her. I was like, I can't talk to you right now. Like, I was just a mess. It's my favorite Bridgerton story. If you've not watched Bridgerton, Whitney, you should watch that.
You out.
That was aggressive.
But Queen Charlotte is really special.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a really cool.
It's on my list.
Are you watching anything else?
I've been watching Grey's Anatomy on Netflix. I mean, it's still on, but it's on like season 20. And I stopped watching it a solid 10 years ago, at least. But every so often I'll go back and watch like the first few seasons because that's really when it was the best.
Probably when it should have stopped 10 years ago.
I mean, it's been on forever. But
Now
yeah,
it's called Grey's Grandparents.
yeah, I don't know how
Grey's
nerdy that
Wrinkles.
is. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's super nerdy or not, but that is what I'm watching. So
Mindy, I know you normally watch movies with us, but are you watching anything?
The only thing I'm watching beyond when we watched Saltburn was I watch hockey every week. So, I follow the St. Louis Blues.
Go Blues!
Go Blues.
we just watched this morning, my son and I, on ESPN, some hockey player. Now, don't ask me what team because I don't know.
He's a team.
But
He's a player.
He played in the early 90s, and they were like retiring his number or
Oh,
something.
yeah, Jaromir Jagr.
Sure.
Jaromir Jagr.
No, he is still playing, and he's like in his 50s.
He went out and
Yeah,
played.
yeah.
He like put his old
still plays
uniform
in,
on. And
Can you say his name again?
Jaromir Jagr.
But yeah, I saw him and I was like, I feel like this is a prototype for like Ilmari. You know, like
can see
Ilmari
that.
in
From Pucking Around.
several,
Yes.
yeah, in several years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
That's all.
it's a really a fun
that's all I
story.
have to contribute to hockey.
The sports with the puck and the ice.
Yeah. What about what you guys are listening to?
I finally got to start Destroy the Day by Bridget Kimmerer. The book was delivered on the day it came out, for the record. But this is a series I've listened to the first two books of. So when I start a series like that, I really like to finish it the same way. So this is the final book in the Defy the Night trilogy. And the trilogy's really amazing. She's a YA writer, and her world building is just really fantastic. She's always an Insta-buy author for me, but I'm super excited because she has been contracted for her first adult fantasy book.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
so
for
I
that.
really want to see where that goes. And she is so
Yeah.
sweet on Instagram. You guys need to follow her.
Yeah,
She's
we met her
wonderful.
at Imaginarium last year. She was really, really,
And our
really
interview
great.
with her was amazing.
Yeah, she's really great.
She's brilliant.
Are you listening to anything right now?
Honestly, I'm listening. I'm trying to catch up with all the podcasts that I listen to. I've been a big How Did This Get Made listener for, however long
You've
that
been
show's
talking about
been
that
on.
for a while, yeah.
I feel like, literally 13 years
Yeah.
probably, which
I've only
are
listened to a couple episodes. The Breaking Dawn episodes.
it's so freaking funny. They
The
just
Face Off
re-released that
episode.
too.
Oh, they did?
The Breaking Dawn one they just re-released, and it's really funny to go back and
I
listen
love Paul Scheer because he's like, why is this movie so good?
to. Yeah, they really do. They do the Fast and Furious movies too, and they're like obsessed with them in a fun way. Either the podcasts or Taylor Swift, 1989 Taylor's version. Oh my gosh, it's so good. You should listen. You should listen to 1989. It's good.
I will listen to it next time I ride with you somewhere.
Me too.
Because it will be on.
That or Taylor Ash.
Yeah. Callan May comes on, and I'm like, yes, turn it
The
up.
Twilight
You like my
soundtrack usually
loins.
plays in there too.
I do have the
Yes.
Twilight soundtrack on there as well. Yes, all of them, all of the soundtracks. So,
What are you
about
listening to,
Mint?
Mindy?
So I think I've mentioned before that I'm just now getting into audiobooks because I never had the attention span for it, but I've been listening to it to and from work. So I get about 20 to 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And right now I'm listening to the third Bonds That Tie book, Blood Bonds.
Who is that? It's
Norse
nice.
book. Yeah. It's super hot.
That's when things start to get real nasty.
Yeah, it's good.
How's the narrator on that?
I love the girl, and the guy is actually pretty good. It's one guy that narrates all the guys.
Oh, cool.
And he just changes his voice just enough, and he does women's voices really good.
Oh, yeah, because a
That's
lot of
good,
times
yeah.
men narrators make women, they go like this.
His name
I'm like,
is
that is not how
yeah,
women
no,
sound.
it's not like that. His name is Wen Ross, and so like it's really cool. Like the deepness of his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he's Knox, he's really deep. When he's North, he's just a little less deep. I don't know. It's really
I'll
he's
let
really
North go
good.
deep.
I was going to say, that just got me really excited.
I'm really enjoying.
Oh,
it.
no, Knox goes deep? That sounds awful.
I'm going to have to look that up and listen to.
I get them at the library through Libby. So
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
I definitely have to look that up. I'm going to refrain from doing that right this second because I really want to. Well, that kind of brings us perfectly, for me anyway, brings us perfectly into our nerdiest topic for today, which is comfort reads. And Broken
When you
Bonds
said that, it
is
made
one
me
of
think
mine.
it made me think of the ladies on Delicious Dish. Comfort reads.
Comfort reads. Yeah, the Bonds That Tie series is one of my comfort reads, so that tracks.
How many times have you read that series?
I mean, I think like 9.
Right. And
In the
we
past
just introduced those to you like
18
last
months.
year.
yeah.
A year and a half, maybe.
So you
at
read
the
them
most.
every 60 days or so?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's
yeah.
about how often you need a comfort read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Do you read all 5 books, all 6 books every
No,
day?
not always. I almost always read book 2.
Which is Griffin's book.
He's your favorite.
He is my favorite. I love him. And Knox is a close second,
I still
honestly.
really picture Griffin as black, and it really bothers me when I see fan art when he's not. Because I'm like, that is
You're
not...
going with the vibes
I'm going with the vibe.
and not the
I don't-
description.
And there's an actor, he's on Arrow, and he's like this big, bulked up dude who I think is super hot, and that's who I picture. So when it's like kind of a somewhat skinny, tall white dude, I'm like, no.
No, he's definitely not.
Not
he should not
skinny.
be skinny. Yeah,
I
he should
picture
be
him
like,
as like a-
absolutely
almost
jacked.
like a
never,
mountain man.
They're never
Yeah.
as bulked up in fan art, I feel like,
No.
as they should be.
Oh, well, he should be because he's
He's
Tag
the
team,
head of the
yeah.
tag team.
well. That should be a bonus episode. I feel like Whitney talks about.
We
the
could
bonds
do
that
a
tie.
Bonds That Tie bonus
We
episode.
We should. So that is definitely one of my comfort reads. And we wanted to talk about comfort reads, the three of us. And I guess let's just get started with, how do you know you need a comfort read?
Well, why don't you tell us, since you're the one that does a comfort read every 60 days?
Well, sometimes more often than that. Well, I mentioned earlier, I've been in a real reading slump and books just don't sound good, right? Like that's one way I know I need to do a comfort read, because I will always get into a comfort read, right? Like I'll be
Right.
excited about reading it and want to keep going, even if I have already read it and know what's going to happen. That doesn't really matter. It's more just like, I enjoy this story, right? And if other books are not exciting to me, then I need to do a comfort read. And that's kind of where I am right now, which I said earlier, it's kind of a bummer, but it happens to the best of us.
Crescent City's too long to be a comfort read.
I know, man.
Yeah.
You can't
Such a
finish it fast
commitment.
enough. Yeah, yeah.
It is really long. Yeah. What about you guys? How do you know you need a comfort read, Mindy?
It's weird. So I don't need one after I read a really good book. I kind of just have to power through whatever after that. I started thinking about this. I was like, when do I need one? It's really when I don't need one. But basically, if I just find myself not wanting to read, I don't have a comfort book. I have comfort like authors or comfort genres or styles.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where I go. I'm not a huge rereader anyways, although last year I read Pucking Around 3 times. So
One of those times was for the podcast, in your defense.
that is true, but still.
It's a work-related reread.
But I don't know. It's funny when we started thinking about this topic, I don't know that like I get into reading slumps that much, which I know it's like sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm not. trying to.
I can't relate to this problem.
I just have so much. Well, I like so many genres and so many things that like it's easy for me because I've got like a whole shit ton of them on my bookshelf and in my Kindle to just find something to start. And sometimes I'll start something and then I'll just leave it and go back to it if I'm not feeling it, which is something I used to never do.
Yeah, that's hard for me to do. If I start it, I'm committed to it, even if I hate every second of it. Like, I did DNF one book recently. That was a big step for me.
Yeah. I think it was the same one I did.
I don't have a problem DNFing because there's too many books to read on this planet that I really want to read. And just because I DNF a book doesn't mean the book is bad. It may just not be the right book for me at that time, or like maybe I had a different expectation of what the book was going to be. I generally don't read a lot of the synopsis about a book because then like I get in my own mind of what it should be like, right? So one of the times that I know I need a comfort read is when I DNF more than 2 books in a row. So if I'm like, I can't get into this, I can't, and this happened last month, and so I'll start listening to something as filler sometimes. Usually my comfort reads are listens, and it's when I'm doing something that takes up too much brain power for me to like really, really listen to a book, right? So I'll start something as background noise and then end up listening to the entire thing. And I'll be like, whoopsies. But I also give advice to readers in a slump to visit a comfort read. So there isn't anything better to get back into reading than reading a book that you absolutely love. Yeah. And then I also know I need one if the day ends in Y. Sometimes I just do. Sometimes I just do.
I love that.
That's true. Yeah. I feel like that a lot.
What kind of characteristics go into a comfort read for you, Whit?
Well, it has to be a book that I loved. Like, could not put it down when I first read it. But I think for me, I was thinking about this earlier today. It really is about the escapism for me because I reread these books when I'm in a slump, which normally I'm in a slump when life is really hard or just really crazy for whatever reason, and I feel very overwhelmed. And so
it's like getting into something new is more overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree.
When I don't know if I'm going to like it and I don't know how intense the reading experience is going to be, and it just stresses me out. So I can read a book that might be intense, but I've already read it and I know how it goes, right? So I can ride the emotional impact because I know that it's coming, you know?
Right.
I just said I can ride something.
I know.
Because you know it's coming.
Because I know it's coming.
You don't want
I didn't
it to
do
come
that on purpose.
You don't want it to come too soon when you start writing it.
Yeah, but it's about that escapism for me. Like, it has to be a book that I can completely like lose myself in its world. And I think that's really what it boils down to.
That's so funny because mine's almost completely opposite. So my comfort read needs to be pretty light. It just, not necessarily fluff, you know, it doesn't need to be like stupid, but have some sort of humor embedded in it. And it has to have something like I don't have to think about too much. So like fantasy doesn't tend to be my comfort read because it's all the world building and all that kind of stuff. They're also usually a lot longer. So my comfort read kind of needs to be between like 200 and 300 pages, or at least be like an engaging, quick read.
Yeah.
So, you know, where you need to get lost in something, I need to not think about something that much.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I actually just realized I forgot to say the most important feature for me is a happily ever after. Has to.
That's just pretty much your go-to
MO
anyway.
every day. Yeah.
I mean, it has to. Like, I can reread a lot of really rough books, like dark romances, as long as they're together with each other and happy in the end.
So it is interesting that you say that because this is usually, you know, I don't need a happily ever after. Sometimes I like it to end a little bit more in what would happen in the
sad
actual real world. No. But I will say my comfort read has to have an HEA. It always does because I want to feel really good at the end. The other thing that mine has to have is quotes that I swoon over. That's usually what makes me think of one of my comfort reads is I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go read that. And I got to read the whole book leading up to that so that the quote hits real hard. You know what I mean? And my comfort reads always have a really angsty love story. So my comfort reads, I know the characters are in love before the characters are in love. And I really like that a lot because it's like watching them come to the realization together. And I think that's really, really cool. So
it's a beautiful thing.
It is. But yeah, if I'm going to feel really good at the end, I need a happily ever after.
Yeah.
Or at least
for
a happily for now.
Yes, at least in the book together and happy with each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. So let's talk about what some of our favorite comfort reads are. Because, I mean, one of mine, I have several, honestly, that I will reread over and over and over again. The Bonds That Tie is one of them. But like you were asking earlier, Deb, do I read the whole thing? I don't actually always read the whole thing. Like, The Bonds That Tie is a series that's a comfort read for me. ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses is a series that's a comfort read for me. And From Blood and Ash is a comfort read. But I will just like pick one. You know, I don't always do it from start to finish. Sometimes I'll just pick like the last one because, you know, Court of Silver Flames is one of my favorites, or Mist and Fury or whatever it is. And I'll just randomly pick one up.
That's because you're lucky enough to remember shit that you read.
Yeah.
Well, I also
And I will
read them
pick the
10
middle one
times.
up and be like, I don't know what's fucking going on here.
Well, we read it 8 times.
Right.
And then you'll be like, oh, I can just pick up this one in the middle. It's fine.
I have 2 that really came to mind, and don't laugh when I say this, but the first one is the first 8 books of the Black Dagger Brotherhood by J.R.
8?
Ward. So I know I said 8, but John Matthew is in all of them, and his book is the 8th book. He's my favorite character.
Gotcha.
He's so amazingly hot. His character is really resilient. It survives sexual assault, survives turning into a vampire. He's living as an orphan, practically homeless. He's mute, but he can definitely communicate, if you know what I'm saying, which is why I think I adore him so much. And he has some of the best spy scenes in the entire book, in my opinion. Him and then his 2 best friends who end up together, Blay and Quinn. That's probably, that's like book 15 though, so I can't say 1 through 15, but his character is just really special. And these books are kind of reignited my love for reading like 15 years ago, right when I met Mindy. And we read
That's
them
when
together.
she introduced me to him.
Yeah. And then my other one is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I know we're going to try to convince others to read our comfort read in a minute, so I'll tell you why then.
I just read that last week.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ones I put on as background noise, and then I was like, wait, I've listened to this for 14 hours this week.
Oh, no.
So I will say the War of Two Queens, I've actually had as my, like, on my reading list on Goodreads for a long time, but it's because it's one of those I'll turn on in the background and listen to for like an hour at a time.
Yeah.
Because it's a 25-hour book.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It's
so
a lot, yeah.
sometimes I'll just turn something on that I really like that to have in the background.
Yeah.
What are your comfort reads, Min?
So again, mine aren't necessarily books. They're more like categories, I guess.
Vibes.
Vibes, yes,
I'm going
exactly.
fast. But I mean, it's not a huge surprise that my main go-to is going to be a hockey romance, right?
Of course.
Like, duh. But I do like, now I will go to Bonds That Tie if I want a fantasy vibe, and only because they're shorter.
Yes, they're quick
So
reads.
they're a little quicker reads. Of course, Pucking Around, I've already mentioned, it's been a go-to this past year. But sometimes I'll even like pull a middle grade book out of our library and just have something completely different, because those are always super quick reads.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can get away with reading those at work sometimes. So there's that. And then if I just really am not feeling like a romance or anything, I'll pick up a John Green book, who's probably one of my all-time favorite authors.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he kind of rekindled my reading before I met you, and then it really picked back up when we started reading Black Dagger.
But then you
Brotherhood.
met me and everything changed for the better. I've never read a John Green book.
I have all his books. They're quirky. They're different.
Do you follow him on TikTok?
Not on TikTok, but I have seen some
On
of
social
his,
media?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
really funny. I like following him.
He's a really interesting person.
He is, yeah. He does good. He's very good at the quick social
Yeah.
media stuff, like the short form, short attention span. Well, so let's move into convince me to read this book.
All right, Deb, go for it.
Okay, so as a reminder, I'm convincing you to read The Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by JLA. So let's start with Marriage of Convenience, followed by Stolen Kisses, Healing Magic, Amazingly Hot Sex in a Cave Filled with Lavender, the main character's filthy mouth, Realized Feelings, Fated Mates, War Against the Enemy, Even More Amazing Hot Sex in a Carriage, Travel to a Hidden Kingdom, Blood Rain, and some crazy ass FMC magical powers.
Yeah.
Oh, and be sure to read From Blood and Ash first, because this is the sequel to that.
I was just about to say, read book 1.
Yes.
But that's not too spoilerly.
No, yeah.
Spoiler-y, because I didn't tell you
Yeah.
how any of that happens. But that's probably one of my favorite books of all time.
It is me too. It's my favorite in the series
Mine
for
too,
sure.
yeah.
At least as of right now, because it's not a completed series. So
There you go.
as of right now. Mindy, what about you?
All right, I'm going to convince you all to read Pucked.
Ooh.
By Helena Hunting?
By Helena Hunting. Because this was my very first hockey romance. It was what got me into them. So I just feel like it's the standard, right? It's the standard of hockey romance. So it's got an awkward but sassy female main character who has like zero filter, which I think is hilarious. It's a super hot hockey main male character with and no lie, it's described as a monster cock. He falls first, and hard, which just, I love that trope. And the best part is she has this stepbrother, and he's also on the hockey team. And then she teases him relentlessly and calls him a Yeti because he's so hairy. Ew. I think it's hilarious. Just a little taste of what kind of awkward, no filter things come out of her mouth.
That's funny. They call Travis Kelce Big Yeti.
They do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Wow.
Guess he's hairy.
I do not find that man attractive.
I don't love the big beard that he's been like not shaving until the Super Bowl.
I don't feel like I could have a conversation with him.
Oh, I think you could.
He'd be like sports.
I think
And
you
I'd
could
be
have
like,
a conversation
art.
with him. I think you
With
should.
our bodies.
You should watch the documentary they did a couple. They did one about him and his brother because they played each other in the Super Bowl last year before last, and they do show a lot more of their personality.
His brother is his hype man, though. I think it's really
That's
cute.
a cute
They have
relationship. Very
the best. I could talk about that. Could be my nerdiest thing. I won't talk about it, but I could. They're very, very cute and sweet together as like brothers.
How far apart are they? Do you know?
2 years, I think.
Yeah, it'd be hard, though, to have a brother and you're like, well, I'm not in the Super Bowl this year. So I think I'll take off my shirt and go stand in the box and cheer for him.
I could talk about it. Maybe I'll do this next week. And maybe this will be my nerdiest thing.
What you
next
watched,
week.
your documentary.
Yeah, it's really, they're good. They're good people. You should hang out with them.
Take me next time you go.
Yeah, of course.
I'll take your word for it.
So we're close. We're close personal friends. Yeah. Well, let's go into what our nerdiest thing of the week for this week is.
What's yours, Whitney?
That's really embarrassing. So I really struggled hard because I'm in such a slump with reading. I feel like I haven't really been doing nerdy things. And so I really stressed out about it today. Like, what is going to be my nerdiest thing of the week? And then I felt like that in and of itself is a nerdy thing. Like, I didn't do enough nerdy things. What am I going to say? And
you
so
thinking Saltburn was a vampire movie is pretty fucking nerdy.
well, there's that. There is that. But then I remembered that I was like the most awkward nerd person this weekend. So my daughter is turning 5. And so we had a little party for her preschool friends. So there's a bunch of 4 and 5-year-olds and all their parents, right? And we know each other kind of because we see each other at like drop off and pick up, but we don't really, the parents, we don't know each other to talk, right? And so everybody was coming in and I was helping, the kids had to take their shoes off at the place where we were, and I was helping getting them out to play and all that stuff. And so then all the parents were there and the kids were doing their thing and we were all just awkwardly standing there. So I thought it would be less awkward for me to say, hey, everyone, I'm Whitney. I'm Annabelle's mom. I think we've all met. I'm just going to let you know. I literally said this, you guys. I'm just going to let you know I'm a very socially awkward person. And I'm not good at small talk. So
don't fucking talk to me.
Don't leave me alone.
So if I'm like weird, that's why. But, thank you for coming and bringing your kids. You don't have to stay this whole time if you don't want to. You can leave and come back.
Please don't talk to me.
I told Robbie because our other kid had a basketball game. So I was at the party with Annabelle and Robbie was doing
Dear God.
the game. And so I was telling him about it later and he was like, oh my gosh. He was like, did anybody talk to you? And I was like, a little bit. He was like, why did you do that? I was like, well, I thought it was weird to just stand there and look at them all and be like, hey, I'm weird in my head. So I thought, well, I'll just say it.
I'll make it more weird.
I'm not good at small talk. Like, I have resting bitch face. I know this about myself. Like, I'm not a horrible person. I'm just weird
I'm
and
going to
awkward.
design a shirt for you that says, I already have 2 best friends. Don't try to be mine.
I'm socially awkward. Please don't talk to me. Yeah, I was like, I didn't mean it in a like, don't talk to me way. And now I'm really like anxious about it that they all thought that I was like, please don't effing talk to me.
Yeah,
that's totally not how I meant it at all.
It is.
No, I was just like, I'm weird. So if you think I'm like weird and standoffish, it's because I'm weird. So like, just
That's like
be
telling
aware.
someone
You know?
you're nervous before you go up on stage, because then it makes you more nervous.
Yeah.
So they probably
guess.
would have never noticed. They might have thought you were a bitch a little, but they would have been fine with it.
Well, so
But
that's my nerdiest thing of the
That's
week.
on them if they don't come up to you and try to find out for themselves.
And besides, you already have two best friends. Fuck them. We don't need any of those bitches getting up on our territory.
They all did giggle a little bit when I said it, though. So nobody looked at me like, "Oh my gosh."
All the moms were like, "Finally, someone said it. We don't have to. Make
We
small
don't
talk."
have to talk. Yeah. Maybe they were excited about
they
it.
might
I don't
have.
know.
They might have been relieved.
I got to tell you though, our producer, my sexual butler, he is the vision of small talk. When our
So is Robbie.
When our
yes.
kids were in elementary school sports, like all the kids knew him, all the parents knew him, and like these women would walk up and be like, "Who's that bitch?"
That is exactly how Robbie loves to talk to everybody. And he said, "I'm sorry, I wasn't there to talk to everybody." Is what he said.
What that is hilarious because my husband's the same way, and sometimes I'm like, Darren, they don't need to know all that information.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to talk to you,
Maybe they're socially
Yeah.
weird.
just like me.
Yeah.
They could be my friend.
We love you just the way you are.
Yes, we do.
Because, girl,
Thank
you're
you.
amazing. Just the way you are.
Thank you so much. Okay, somebody else go.
Mindy, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Lately, the nerdiest things I've been doing is dealing with my camper because it's pretty much all I do in any random spare time that I have. But this week was actually kind of fun. So lately, my husband's been doing a lot of like mechanical stuff, and like we pulled the refrigerator out and we bought an. Okay, first of all, we spent more on our little tiny refrigerator for this RV than we spent on our full size refrigerator for our kitchen. That shit's expensive.
You had to get like a special kind.
Yeah,
You couldn't just
yeah.
like go get a dorm refrigerator.
You have to get like a particular like RV kind. I mean, you can
Yeah.
get the other kind, but it doesn't run as well. So anyway, that was a little off topic. But my nerdy thing is I'm finally getting to like pick out some of the decoration stuff. And so I went to a friend of mine's going to make some curtains for me, and I went to pick out the fabric. And so I went to Spoonflower, which is one of my favorite. Like, I don't know, do you go to Spoonflower often?
Yeah, sometimes.
They just have a lot of like mid-century modern styles. And so I found I spent way too much time going through this website, you all, and then like trying to like match up stuff because I was getting a solid and a print. And I finally settled on this print, and it's so you're gonna laugh because it's so me. It's called Mid Mod Meow.
I was just about to say,
Does it
is
have
it
cats?
cats?
Yes. And Darren fully approves because it's not like it's those cool like skinny cats, and so like, but they're even almost a little bit abstract.
The cool cats.
The cool cats.
Cool cats and kittens.
So they're not as like, I don't know. There's something I think that Darren can appreciate because it's more geometric than
Yeah.
it is, catty.
It's not like little kittens in a basket of flowers.
Right. But I'm really excited about it. It's got all the cool mid-century modern like colors.
Yeah.
It's like teals and oranges and mustard yellows, and it's so cute.
That'll
so I
be
can't
really
wait to
cute.
get that done.
That's exciting.
I know. I'm really happy about it.
Yay.
Yay. I'll end us out for this very special season 4, episode 1 nerdiest thing.
Say that 3 times
Is that your
fast.
nerdiest thing of the
Yes,
week?
it is. Yes, it is. So, as I think most of our listeners know, my business is vending at Readers Take Denver in April, and I've been making book annotation kits in book sleeves. I currently have fabric cut for 47 annotation kits and 40
wow.
book sleeves. I laid out the fabric I prepped yesterday, and it went through 4 rooms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was like a third of it. So and then the other thing is I started a pre-order of sweatshirts and tumblers because those are so bulky to travel with and to
Yeah.
take stuff that's not going to sell. So Readers Take Denver does this really cool thing with their vendors where you can post pre-orders. And so I've had a bunch come in through that, and it's been really fun getting to know the readers in the group. So
Yeah.
I am going to put out there that the next event, they're moving it up to February next year because I guess Denver April weather is more spastic than February weather is.
Interesting.
And so the cool thing is tickets just went on sale to the public, and you can put down $20 for tickets, and then they put you on a monthly billing plan until the
Oh.
event. So
Okay, that's awesome.
I'm just
Yeah.
telling you.
Sounds like a
to-
birthday present for
Yeah.
me.
So I will say my assistant is free, and the vendors get access to all of the events. So this year they're having a masquerade ball. They're doing a casino night. And these are like sponsored by authors. So like
Yeah.
the authors are there. They're doing a red carpet for a book that's been turned into a movie on Netflix.
That's cool.
It's
Oh, how
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That
So,
sounds like
and they
fun.
have like a meal plan too that they can bill you more for monthly. They're
Sure.
like, they really understand that this shit's expensive.
Right. Yeah. Make it more accessible.
Yeah. And they've sold like 3,200 tickets. It's going to be fun.
That's
I can't
awesome.
wait.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be super fun.
And some of the bookstagrammers we follow that also have businesses are going to be there too. So I'm excited to meet them.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Come say hi if you're at Reader's Take Denver in April. I'm Deborah with Icon Design. Pre-order my shit.
Well, that is it for this first episode of season 4. Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to tune in to our buddy read along reading book episode.
To our buddy read.
Yeah, that's what I said. This Thursday,
You did it.
we're going to be talking about Crescent City, the first one, House of Earth and Blood, chapters 1 through 37.
See you then.
Bye.
Like what you heard in this episode? Follow Our Nerdiest Thing on Instagram at instagram.com/Our Nerdiest Thing or Facebook at facebook.com/Our Nerdiest Thing. We love hearing from fellow nerds. Email us at ournerdiestthing@gmail.com.